Rita, and I like to teach art, so I'm going to give you a short little tutorial this morning on how to make a remembrance tree for your home. Because of COVID, our church is closed most of the time. It's open now for private worship, I know, but every other year we had a big November tree, as we called it, in the sanctuary, and we would start at the beginning of November with a bare tree, just the bare branches, nothing on it. So it was very sad and Gobronach looking. And we would provide a big basket of painted leaves you probably saw them. There would have been a bigger version of this, like a little leaf like that, coloured with a paper clip on the top of it to hang on the tree. So the idea was you'd come along, write the names of the loved ones that you wanted to remember during November, and you'd hang it on the tree. So we'd start off with a very Gobronach tree, and by the end of November we'd have a riot of colour up in the side altar, and a real richness of memories. It was just a lovely thing that we've been doing for years. Anyway, I missed that, and I decided to make one for my own house, and so I'm just going to show you how to do one today. But what I did was I went out into the garden a while ago and I had a look at some of the autumny colours that I have outside in my own place. Can you see that? Little ivy leaves. Look at the reds and the oranges and the yellows. And some of the briars. I do have thoroughbred briars in my garden. Look, lovely colours. Even a little bit of green left there on that one. A lot of brown and yellow. Not so many red ones, but that's just my garden. There's lots of red up the wood. Lovely purpley colours in the begonias, and even this old gladiola. Look at the gorgeous colours in the leaves. You know, orangey browns and blacks, and really gorgeous richness to remind us that it's autumn. So what you need to make a little tree at home, first of all, is a branch. And I went out into my garden and I picked this branch. Now I have a couple of the paper leaves. I have 2 of them up there just to show you. And the tree has some of its own leaves still on. So I'm leaving them on. I just think it's a nice touch, and they'll probably fall off in the next week with the heating inside, but what harm? It's just nice to have them. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make some coloured paper leaves. I'm going to show you how to hang them up. You can get 40 little leaves from an A4 sheet of white card, and that's pretty good going. So you'll find that white card in most of the supermarkets. It'll be called card rather than paper because it's a bit heavier. But if you have nothing else, only paper, that's fine. The backs of Christmas cards or old birthday cards are usually mostly white. They'll do absolutely fine, and you'll be recycling, and that's a really good thing to do. You'll need something to colour, reds. I included a green one just because you saw there that there's sometimes a little bit of green left in the autumn leaves before they turn brown completely, so it's nice to acknowledge that. So you'll need something to colour. If all you have is markers, that's grand. I picked out some markers here from various packs, all in autumn colours like reds and yellows and oranges and browns. I've colouring pencils. I don't think I'll use them because the crayons are faster for what I'm trying to do now today. But whatever colouring material you have, whatever tool you have for colouring, it could be paints, it could be markers, it could be anything. I'll show you a secret one in a minute at the end that you mightn't have thought of as an art material, but anyway. And it'll be lovely if there are different generations in your home, if you sat around a table some morning or some evening and did it together, because you'd have different people that you remember that have passed on than your parents would, and your granny would remember people that you have never heard of, and she might like to, you know, so there'd be generations of memories on your little family remembrance tree. So I hope you can see the the paper clearly. I'll have to work flat, but I lift it up every so often to show you. So I'm going to just spill out my autumn coloured leaves. So now look, I'm starting off with yellow, and I'm just going to start scribbling. If there's any children watching here now, there's a big secret you have to find out, and that is that adults love to scribble. You know, here's the evidence. I'm in my element now, love it. Okay, you saw that leaf that I showed you there a while ago, this one here. Okay, this is what that's my yellow so far. If anybody needs more light, or if they think I need more light, just shout and tell me, because I'm a beginner at this. Then I go on to orange, and I just do whatever I like, scribbly, 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 all over the paper. All right. Trying to fill up the spaces. Then I'm going on to red. Oh, that red is gorgeous. It's really rich. And when you go over the other colours, it blends in with them. It's fabulous. It blends in and it makes a great richness of colour. See how we're coming on? Okay. And smudge them in together, you know. Smudging is a very technical term. Everybody has to learn how to smudge sometime in their lives. No, this is a really yuck looking colour because all my crayons got really manky dirty in together. But look, that's the colour it's supposed to be. It's kind of a peachy, not too exciting, but it does blend the other colours together beautifully. It does a great job on it. Get rid of all the white. Don't let any white be seen towards the end. Oh, and I meant to put in a little bit of green here and there. I don't know if the green is going to show now. Have I left it too late? Sometimes. Okay. Now, some brown, because there's always brown around in autumn. Brown is probably the last colour the leaf goes. It starts off losing its green and it starts going a bit of yellow, and then if it's beech or some plant like that, you'll see the orange coming in. Briars have gorgeous red on them at this time of the year too. Here we are with a bit of brown, and I think it needs a bit of richness from red. No, that's not working. Ah, that's more like it. Look, that red is, no. And actually that kind of scribbling, roundy scribbling, is probably better for what we're trying to do than the nice, neat, all one direction scribbling. Did I say one direction? I did. Brown, again, another bit of brown. This is looking great. Now the secret weapon that I was, oh yes, sorry, before I do the secret weapon, I'm going to add a bit of purple, because I noticed, what was it, this begonia in the garden had a nice bit of purple in it, so let's give it a bit of purple as well. So at this stage it's looking like the worst mess you ever made in your life. It's just scribble, 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 but in fairness I have covered all the white. That doesn't look as if I did, but it's yellow, so I'm going to add a bit more yellow there over it, especially up that side. I don't want a square millimetre of white showing now. I just want glorious autumn colour showing, because I want all my leaves to be really exciting looking and handsome looking when they're on the thing. So now that took all of, I don't know, I wasn't timing, but maybe one or two minutes to scribble all the colours of autumn. And when I was talking about the secret weapon, it's my lipstick. Don't tell anyone. So look, I just got, actually this is one that I like, so I don't want to use too much of it, but I just literally put a little scribble here, just a tiny little scribble of the lipstick. Okay, that's all I'm willing to donate. But you might have old lipsticks at home, and they're great for smudging. Do you see the red, how it's after bringing it to life? And then you can, well, you don't have to use your finger like I am. You could use a crayon. just to smudge that in a little bit, and you'll get a lovely little bit of richness. Just go over the lipstick lines again with a crayon, or no problem doing it with your fingers, but I don't want to have all the mammies contacting me to say that the couch is daubed with lipstick. Okay. Okay, so that's the front one, and that's really, like, that's the main part of the excitement. Now I'm going to turn over my newspaper again because it's clean at the other side, and I'm going to face this down, and I need now to come up with this, to end up with a leaf like this, or lots of leaves. I need to organize myself here, because it's going to waste paper and waste color if I just start drawing leaves all over the place to cut out. So what I did was, I did an experiment. I'm like Rita now. Here's one I did earlier. I'm going to be folding it in 4 to make 4 guidelines for you, and then you draw a row of leaves, and the folded lines keep your leaves a uniform size, right? Okay. So I'm going to fold the sheet in 2 and just make a light. I don't want to go rubbing it really hard. So you fold down the middle. Then you do it again. You go from the side into the middle. My hands now are really filthy. I don't want to dirty it too much. Okay. So side, the edge of the paper into the middle. And clean the hands again. What's dirtying my hands is the grease from the, I suppose I must admit it, from the lipstick mainly, and a little bit from the crayons as well. So now I have two folds, and now I have my 3rd fold. I'll go for it now. Okay, so there's my sheet of paper, 4 folds, and they're only there purely to keep the size of the leaves fairly uniform. And I literally start drawing my leaves. I'll hold it up in 1 second now. I know this isn't ideal. I should really have a camera over my head. You just draw a leaf shape like that, and you see that this fold is keeping you. If you draw a row of leaves along here, this fold will keep you doing it in a uniform size. Now, some of them are going to be skinny, and some of them are going to be chubby, and some of them are going to be old looking, and some of them are going to be young looking, and different little personalities on every leaf, really. Okay. I did one earlier, and I wrote the names of some of my people that I want to remember here on the backs of them. So this is the next step. You colour your front, then you draw your leaves with the guidelines of the folds. And I'm going to continue. I had some of my aunties and uncles and my mum and dad written down there. So who am I going to start with? Okay, the aunties on my Cronin side. So there's Sheila, and there's Ina, and there's Anne, and there's Peggy. And today a friend of mine was buried here in Killa. Tom was his name, so I'm going to put Tom on a leaf. And Sheila, a friend of mine who died, Sheila. And you continue down. So I would advise do the writing before you go any further, right? And I used a Sharpie marker. The Sharpie is, everything is turning out backwards, and I don't know how to fix that, so just bear with me. But I'm sure you're familiar with Sharpies. You see them in most shops for sale now, and what's good about them is they're permanent. So you can write something with this marker, and you can actually colour over it, and there'll be no smudging or anything. So what I did a while ago with these ones is I just got any colour that's autumny. This is an orange highlighter, and it doesn't seem to be a very popular highlighter shade, so when you buy a pack of them, you'll probably have the orange one and the pink one left over that nobody uses. I'm going to do one in yellow, and you see because the black marker is permanent, it's not smudging it at all. I'll use a pencil for this one, right? And I can still read Anne through the thing. But what it means is that when you have your leaf on the tree, hanging on the tree, you won't have, you see, look, this is one that I left with a white background, right? When a breeze in the room moves the leaves, I just don't like that white. So I much prefer, here's the one that I have that I put yellow on. I put yellow on the back of this one. Wait till I take it off and show it to you properly. So there's my leaf, and there's the back of it, okay? Now, so the next step is to cut it out. So if you have really small hands, and please do ask an adult about the scissors part of it, because it's important not to cut little fingers. But if you share this lovely project with an adult and you're both sharing the scissors and you're both doing, you might do something for the adult that they don't like doing. They mightn't like the scribbling and the colouring, and you mightn't like the cutting out, or vice versa, and you can help each other. It's a lovely, lovely project to do with different generations. So there are two of my leaves, okay, cut out. There are the names on the backs of them, and they're coloured so that when the breeze moves them, they won't shine out as white. But there's one little thing that I add then to this at this stage. I love to do this because it makes the leaf, it's just the icing on the cake. It makes the leaf very real looking. You just draw a line. I realise now that you can't actually see clearly because my table isn't tilted, but the minute I've it done, I'll lift it up and show it to you. I draw a line down the middle like that, okay? And then I do little veins, about 3 or 4 at each side would be grand. 2, 3, 4. And it makes the leaf absolutely real looking, okay? Now, so that's the front of the leaf. And the next job, in order to get from this to this, you'll need to punch a hole. So if you look at your leaf, this is where the leaf is attached to the branch, because you've drawn the lines and the little veins, the center vein and the side veins. And it's showing me that this is the part that was connected with the tree. So I need to put a hole at this end. And I'm using a chopping board. Okay, so I put down my leaf on this end is where I need the hole. So with my skewer, I'm going to just press it into the chopping board, and that makes a lovely hole. Okay, so I'm going to just stick the skewer into that hole properly so that the hole is nice and big. Okay, see that? Anyway, can you see the hole? I hope you can. The hole at the top. Maybe it's easier to see it there. And then the next bit is really satisfying and really it finishes the whole thing. I got some inexpensive paper clips. So you take a paper clip, okay, and you just open one side of it like that. You get it really tight in like this one, like that, and then you open one side of it like that. So the open side is what you put in. I usually put it in at the painted side of the leaf. Put that just in the hole, close it again, or if you don't, it doesn't really matter, but I like to just neaten it up. Okay, so there's my Auntie Sheila leaf. It looks like this in the front, and there's Sheila's name on the back. Okay, so there's my tree, the top of it, and you have enough. If you do what I showed you there with one A4 card, you have enough for 40 leaves, and you just hang them anywhere that there's a little twig. Be careful when you're choosing your twig, and try not to get, ash isn't very good for this, oak is brilliant, this is dogwood. It's a bit like putting the Christmas decorations on your Christmas tree. It looks really bare, and the next thing you put 1 bauble and 2 baubles and 3 baubles, and by the time you have the tree done, it's absolutely glorious. The other thing I was thinking of, but I'm not organized enough to have what I need, is, you know, those little wire sets of battery lights. They're LED, they're about, in the supermarkets I think they're about $1.99, $2.99 max, for about 10 or 20 tiny little LED lights. And before you put the twig up to decorate it with leaves, what you could do is you could just, you know, scatter it around, just wind it around some of the branches, so that as well as the leaves, it has lights at night. Well, the other thing I thought of is that if you have loads of leaves and you've all your family names on, what you could do is scatter the remaining leaves, you know, arrange your tree someplace that everybody will see it in the family, and scatter the leftover leaves down at the bottom. So if you think of somebody, but if you have the paper clips and the blank leaves down at the bottom, then somebody might come in to visit some night and they have somebody in their head that they'd like to remember, and they can add it to your tree. Or they might be inspired to go off and make another tree themselves. You've been here for the world premiere. It's the very first time I did any kind of a tutorial, and it was just a mad notion I got the other day when I was thinking, oh, I really missed that November tree in the sanctuary. Lovely to see people tuning in. I enjoyed that. Hope you do, and do send photographs, please, in the comments.